G'day Star Wars fans, and welcome back to another Star Wars YouTube video. Today I'm going to go through my Star Wars novel canon collection. Someone asked me a while back to just to show that off what I've actually got in my collection. Now I've tried to keep up to date with most of the new books being released. I never really read the expanded universe, so when they changed the canon for Star Wars, I really wanted to keep up to date with the new books coming out, because I love hearing, not only with the movies, but what's going on around. I think what the Star Wars Storybook Board are doing, connecting everything together, is really cool. So I'll go through some of the books I've got, and the first one is Star Wars: A New Dawn. Now I haven't actually finished reading this one. I started it, but then I stopped. Probably I don't know, a quarter away in from the book. I've got to have to sit down and read this at some stage, but that's one book, A New Dawn. The next one I haven't read either. It's called Star Wars Smuggler's Run. Now this is one of those short novels which leads up to The Force Awakens, so I've got to still read that one. The Star Wars The Force Awakens, the novelization of the movie, which I have read. Really cool. It's got extra bits in that explains the little things in the movie, and kind of helps the movie out. I read this before, actually. No, I didn't read it before because I would have spoiled it. I did read this after watching the movie and then seeing it for the second time, so really good extra little bits in the novel. Same with Rogue One. I don't think I've actually finished reading this, actually, come to think about it, but like with some of the novelizations, it has little bits of extra bits and pieces in there what the movie can't, sometimes can't show on the screen. So Rogue One. The next one, Ahsoka, I did read, and this was a really cool book to read. Really enjoyed it, to find out what Ahsoka was up to between the Clone Wars, or Revenge of the Sith, and A New Hope, or Rebels, and a very good book to read indeed. The next one, Before the Awakening. Now I did get this before The Force Awakens, so it was a really good insight on Finn, Rey and Poe Dameron leading up to The Force Awakens. It gives you a little bit of a backstory, and pretty much where these stories finish, it takes off with the movie, so really good. So that's Star Wars Before the Awakening, and that was another one leading to The Force Awakens or something. Now this book here was one of my favorites. It was Lost Stars. Seen a couple of reviews done by Star Wars Jedi Collider Jedi. Now this takes place through from just before A New Hope, around about just near the end of the Clone Wars, Empire's Day, and goes all the way up to the Battle of Jakku. That Star Destroyer there is one of the Star Destroyers that crashes on Jakku, and awesome story. Lots of little tidbits in here that you later on find out in The Force Awakens, and it's both stories, the Rebel side and the Empire side, so fantastic. I really highly recommend reading this book. It's from Claudia Gray. Fantastic. The battles that take place that you hear about, you get a bit more insight on both sides, especially like the movies as well, like Empire Strikes Back, the Battle of Hoth, and the scene where the TIE fighters chasing the Millennium Falcon. You get to know about the pilots that actually died chasing the Falcon as well, so that's another cool book. Bloodline, I haven't read this one yet. I'm going to have to at one stage, but I've heard it's really good, so can't wait to read that. Another one is Battlefront, Twilight Company. Awesome book. This is an awesome war book. I think when Battlefront 2 comes out, we've got Inferno Squad, and there's actually a novelization of that squad. I kind of think this was in plan for Battlefront, but because they didn't have enough time and they wanted to release it before The Force Awakens, I guess the single player campaign was left out of Battlefront, the first one, but this could have been the actual campaign mode following Twilight Company. War film, love to have this as a big poster framed up in the house. Stunning on the back there, awesome picture. Next one's Lords of the Sith. Now, if you enjoyed seeing Vader in the end of Rogue One cut up all those rebels, well, you'll totally enjoy reading Lords of the Sith, because this is full on with the Emperor and Vader in it, absolutely cutting people up. Now, the picture on the front's a little bit deceiving with the walkers and stormtroopers and rebels fighting. It's a bit deceiving, but the story is absolutely awesome. Heir of the Jedi. This is one of the first books that were released. Now, this was actually written before the new canon stuff came in. I think they just wanted to chuck this in as official canon just to get one of the first stories off. Heir of the Jedi is really boring. I actually read it and it was very painful to actually finish this book. You don't need to read it. There's nothing in here that you need to know about. It's just a story about Luke after the Battle of Yavin, after the Death Star. Just him trying to figure out what he's going to do. But yeah, you don't need to read that. That one's quite boring. Tarkin, awesome book. Another one. Really recommend reading Tarkin. This is between Revenge of the Sith and Rebels. This is leading up to really Star Wars catalyst Rogue One, so very good book. Tarkin and Vader work together in that one, which is pretty cool. Then you got Catalyst Rogue One, which pretty much takes up after Tarkin. Another awesome book. Really helped in watching Rogue One as well, because it gives you a little backstory between Galen, Erso, and director Krennic. You know how much, when you watch the film and you've read this, you know the backstory, how these guys have known each other for so long, and Krennic's building the Death Star, awesome, and it's got Tarkin in that as well. Then we've got the Star Wars Aftermath. Didn't really enjoy Aftermath that much. It was alright. I read the whole book. I didn't mind it, but yeah, it's probably not one of my favourites. Life Debt, I still haven't read that one. I heard that's a lot better than the what is it, Empire's End? No, Aftermath. It's just called Aftermath. And then you got Empire's End, which I haven't read either, which I'm looking forward to as well. So, and last book in the collection is Thrawn. Still got to read this one as well. I started it, but gotta get stuck into reading this one at some stage. So there you go, guys. There's my collection of books. There's lots more coming out later this year, like I said, Inferno Squadron. Then I think there's another one called Bomber Squadron, and that's got to do leading up to The Last Jedi, and everyone thought that might have been the First Order or something, but since we've seen the trailer and we know those are Resistance bombers, looks like we're going to get a backstory on those ships and the people who pilot those, which I'm not sure when it comes out, but that'll be not too far away. Alright guys, well that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoy having a look at my collection of Star Wars canon books. Remember, I'm trying to crack 100,000 views for the month of June, so if you can help out by watching these videos and some of my past ones, that'd be great. Drop a comment down below, let me know if you've read any of these books. Hit that like button, it's very important. Share this video, and if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. Stay tuned for more Star Wars discussion videos. Lots more, because I love talking Star Wars. Thank you, and may the Force be with you always.